Hello, everyone. Welcome in. Happy Wednesday. Appreciate everyone hanging out with us right here. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam, Ronis with you. Fantasy Life on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio, getting you ready for all things Week 12 in the NFL. Week 12, that's correct. That means we have 3 weeks for most of you until the fantasy football playoffs begin. I hope all your waiver wire dreams came true last night and this morning when you were waking up. Adam, how's it going? How you doing? It didn't for me, I'll say that. I had no one to pick up on waivers besides guillotine leagues, but other than that, it was fine.
Yeah, I have only had, I believe, 3 leagues run so far. Most of mine are today, and really didn't get much at all. There's not a lot out there. Again, we play in a lot of deeper formats. A lot of my leagues are 20 rounds, so there's just not a lot out there. A lot of the running back names that we have talked about, Emmanuel Wilson, I actually have in a few leagues.
Nice.
Kenneth Gainwell, I told you someone in my home league started him against me last week, put up that number. I still was able to overcome it and win, but it's still frustrating when you look at your opponent. You're like, so when the game starts or before, you're like, oh, Kenneth Gainwell, all right, what is he going to get, 5 points? And then he goes out there and puts up, 25? You're like, what? So, yeah, not a lot so far. Going through some other leagues, there are some options that I'm putting in for tonight. I was actually surprised that Emmanuel Wilson was available in one of my high stakes leagues. The thing is I'm actually solid at running back right now. I'm still obviously going to bid, but the number doesn't have to be as high where there probably are people in that league who really need a running back and are going to spend a lot. I actually don't have a lot of money left in that league either. I'm under $200. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm more conservative with my fab. Not conservative, but I usually have a good amount left at this time of year. I'm noticing across most of my leagues I don't, which I don't know. I guess
there's been a lot of injuries.
Yeah. We've had to spend on some desperate pickups this year.
Yeah, it's been awful. I'm in one of my high stakes leagues. I'm in a couple that I'm actually in a really good spot at, but yeah, my money's going away very quickly. We had in one that I saw, we had Kenneth Gainwell, Sean Tucker, and Emmanuel Wilson all available. So it was kind of like a roll of the dice because that's what a lot of people are going to be looking at. Okay, if Bucky Irving can play this weekend, what does that mean for Sean Tucker? The reports on Josh Jacobs are that he has a chance to play this weekend, which I'm shocked about, Adam.
I told you this. I don't know if it was yesterday or Monday. Like, if there's anyone that I wouldn't be surprised that goes out there, it's Jacobs. He had that calf injury a few weeks ago, and it looked like he wasn't going to play, and he played. So
surprise, I'm here.
He needs to stop and rest. I really need Emmanuel Wilson this weekend in a couple leagues. So Jacobs, you've been banged up. You're a tough guy. I mean, I'll say right now you're the toughest guy in the NFL. If that's what you're looking for, just rest this week.
There you go. Yeah, it's Adam totally concerned about your health. Nothing else other than that. Yeah, no, totally. I can tell. I can hear it in your voice. And then Kenneth Gainwell, Sean Tucker, Emmanuel Wilson. Yeah, Kenneth Gainwell. I mean, Jaylen Warren said that he's good to go as well. So you've got 3 guys that maybe we just saw a spike week that we don't see again. We've seen that before with Sean Tucker. We saw that last season. So it's one of those roll of the dice things where you say, okay, which one do I want? Which one's at the top of my priority list? Of course, the backup running back, the premier handcuff, I will say, Adam, that I've held on to all season because I thought I was just going to run away with it. Brian Robinson Jr. Haven't had to use him. Which is great news. We don't want injuries, but that is crazy to me.
That happens sometimes where we always hear the positive handcuffs, like, yeah, see, I got this guy, and now the running back went down. And then there's situations where you could have a handcuff or someone else's backup running back on your roster the entire year, and they never get into your starting lineup, which probably happened a lot last year when we had few running back injuries. But yeah, Brian Robinson, obviously we know would be a good start if anything were to happen to McCaffrey. But McCaffrey is just indestructible, okay? Yeah. You can give this guy 50 touches in a week. It doesn't matter. I was actually surprised that he was in the game that late this past week. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Like, the game was over, and I was like...
No, I know. I said that.
He had that touchdown late because I was going against him in the league. So that's why I noticed that. I was like, wait, he's still in there? The game's over. What are they doing? And I guess whatever he did overseas, he knew, hey, don't worry, I'm not going down with injury this year. You could give me 70 touches in a game. It ain't happening. I'll be out there next week.
Wish you would have texted us that, told us. I've got 0%, except for, best ball. That's the one place in guillotine leagues. I don't count those because those aren't traditional, fantasy like we're talking about here. But for him to be. And then they've got, I mean, we talked about this going into the season, right? There was always this idea in the back of our minds with CMC. We said, okay, hey, we're not going to take it this season, but whoever does, he's either going to get hurt or be a league winner. There felt like there was no in between with Christian McCaffrey. Now we're seeing the league winner side, which is fantastic for people that drafted him. And they get Brock Purdy back. Brock Purdy is so productive, so accurate. And we talked about this before the season started. They have the easiest strength of schedule. You can pull up their schedule for the rest of the season and you're like, this 49, like we talk about no dominant teams in the NFL, but the 49ers could have a run out this year where we just say, yeah, that makes sense. CMC's healthy. They got Brock Purdy back at the right time. They're 7-4 right now. Things are going right for them. I mean, in the next handful of games, it's the Panthers, it's the Titans, it's the Colts, Bears, Seahawks, Browns. That's how they finish out the year.
Do the Panthers still count as a revenge game, or is it too late?
Does it? I think it's too late. I think he's done too much, and they didn't get anything out of that trade anyway.
So right now, I know you've been digging up some stats, and you were looking at some things last night. But do you know right now that Christian McCaffrey is 9th in the NFL in receiving yards? He is ahead of Jalen Waddle, Trey McBride, Egbuka, Flowers, Chris Olave, Diggs, Sutton, McConkey. Nico Collins. Now, Collins only played 9 games, to be fair. And McCaffrey's played 11. He hasn't had his bye yet. But still, that's
nuts.
Right? It's mind-boggling. He has 74 receptions. Jackson Smith-Njigba has 72. Chase has 79. We know
how we're going to use you this year.
He is second in the NFL in receptions.
That is just crazy. It's not going to stop either. Why would it stop?
No, it's not. And again, we did say before the year, like, this could really backfire. But I said if I had 10 teams, I would want him in at least one in case this happens. And I have more than 10 teams, and I don't have them.
Where's he at in rushing attempts then? Here I can look.
Yeah, I don't think he's as high.
No, he can't. No, if he gets that much.
Even this week, he only had 13 carries.
There's been a lot. So he's 13. Or no, hang on. Let me go to attempts. He's 13th in yards on the ground. Oh, he's first in attempts as well. 193.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I know he had a game of like
season,
8, yeah. So that's why.
Yeah, he's ahead of JT. He's ahead of James Cook, Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs. That's top 5.
Okay. I mean, he didn't have his bye yet, too, so he's going to be ahead of some of those guys with 10. But, yeah, the workload is massive. This isn't
it's insane. It's not going to stop.
He has, 193 carries, 74 receptions, so 267 touches. And we're in week 12.
If I asked you between CMC, Jonathan Taylor, who is going to finish as the overall RB1, with the run, so the Colts are coming off their bye. They've got the Chiefs, the Texans, the Jaguars, the Seahawks, the 49ers, and then the Jaguars again to close it out. But we'll stop at the 49ers because that's week 17.
So my rest of the season rankings, I have Taylor 1, McCaffrey 2.
Okay, there we go.
I think you could easily flip it. Couldn't argue with it. I mean, Taylor obviously is just scoring a lot of touchdowns. He's also involved in the passing game, putting up a lot of yards. McCaffrey's getting more volume, but I think Taylor's been more efficient with his touches. McCaffrey, though, way more involved in the passing game.
Yeah. It's been fun to watch, and he's at Jonathan Taylor. Whenever you look, 17 touchdowns on the season. It's just, you've got CMC next. I'm just talking running backs here. CMC next at 11. Josh Jacobs at 11 too. And then if you want to add everyone else in, it's Devontae Adams, because of course, and then Josh Jacobs, Jahmyr Gibbs.
Devontae Adams doesn't even have 50 receptions.
No, I know.
What does he have, 43? I think?
Yep.
Yeah, 10 touchdowns on 43 receptions.
That's crazy.
Every 4.3 receptions, he's getting a touchdown.
Just like we expected. To me, though, when I look at this Rams team, I'll say this. I was thinking about this last night because you were right. I don't know. You ever have, well, you couldn't sleep last night, so I know sometimes you do this, but I was just wondering where we were at this point in the season. So I was looking up these stats, and I was texting you about Bo Nix leading the NFL in pass attempts, which I just thought was so crazy weird. And we can dive into that later, I guess. But I was looking, and I think the Rams are probably, if you asked me a dominant team right now, I would probably say the Rams. If we had to ask about one, they would be up there at least. Not number one, but they would be in the conversation.
Yeah, they're really good. They have all the pieces. They have an experienced quarterback, a coach, a good play caller. The defense is good. They can obviously be beaten. And let's not forget, too, this team, similar to last year, there's obviously been some changes. They almost beat the Eagles in the postseason. They were the only team to really give the Eagles a game, and the weather played a factor in that. And if maybe the weather was better, maybe they win the game. But, their losses this year, they've lost. I don't know how they lost that Thursday night game in San Francisco. I guess now seeing Mac Jones play after, it doesn't look as bad, but they had no one healthy that night. And then they also lost to the Eagles, too, in week 3 on the road.
They've beaten good teams, too. That's the other thing that I was looking at through their schedule.
Yeah.
They had some pretty good wins.
Oh, yeah, they beat the Colts, so that's a great win. And then Seattle this past week, really was the turnovers that did them in. They didn't really have the ball.
You mean you can't win usually with 4 turnovers from your
the
starting
Seahawks
quarterback?
almost did.
Jeez, what do we do? I just look at them and I think that, if they continue to do what they've been doing, they play the Bucs this weekend, then they have the Panthers, then they have the Cardinals, and then they take on the Lions December 14th, Seahawks.
That's
Seahawks one more time.
Oh,
that's
wow,
be...
and that's a tough stretch there because they play the Lions on a Sunday and then on the road on a Thursday at Seattle.
And then the Falcons to finish things off week 18 or week 17, excuse me, and then 18 is the Cardinals. Yeah. They seem to me, I was looking at them and, we've talked about Devontae Adams getting that connection with Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford's putting up numbers where he's in the MVP conversation because you just can't have the run that he's been going on with the lack of interceptions, the touchdowns that he's getting. I mean, it's just been a nice run. So I was looking through and I was like, this team, with the run that they have, a couple definitely difficult games in there. And we always know that those divisional games sometimes get fluky, sometimes get weird. But yeah, that stretch is going to be really interesting for me and them. So we'll see how it goes. That's my dominant team pick, though, for the rest of the season, I think. That's going to be mine.
Oh, so if you were picking a Super Bowl winner right now, it would be them? I believe when I checked the other day, they were favored to win the Super Bowl.
Really?
Yeah.
Who was second? Do you remember? That's a tough. I don't.
I'll look at it.
We can pull it up.
But I remember looking the other day briefly, and it said the Rams were plus 500 as the favorite.
Wow. Plus 500 as the favorite is, all right. Well, that's going to be my pick for now. We'll see how it goes. One team that's not going to be my pick, let me just say this. Sorry, Houston Texans fans. That's a brutal transition. But
who do you think second? I have it now.
Who do I think is second? Ravens?
No. Ravens are
Seahawks?
7th.
Seahawks?
Nope. Seahawks are 6th.
Dang.
I mean, you're forgetting an obvious team.
What? Colts? Who?
No.
I'm
the
really
Colts
not
actually are
thinking about
4th. The Eagles.
Oh, the
second.
Eagles. Yes.
And then the Bills are 3rd at plus 800. Colts plus 900. Chiefs plus 1,000. Seahawks plus 1,100. This is on DraftKings. Broncos plus 1,400.
Really?
As the 9th. And the Patriots plus 1,500. 10th. Yeah,
the Broncos just seem... And maybe they can just prove everyone wrong because, like we said, they keep winning in those ways that they do. But I was texting you, the stats that I was texting you last night were about the Broncos. They rank 17th in points, 13th in total yards, 17th in passing yards, 21st in net yards per attempt. So more or less, like those are, I told you, I said mediocre. That's not mediocre. They're average. Those stats are average across the board. So that's what I was looking at with Denver. I was just like, hey, this offseason, because I'm not writing them off for this season, but I said, hey, in the offseason, maybe they can get a yak monster, a guy that gets yards after the catch. They solidify that wide receiver room, but it's just crazy to me to look at where they're at and the stats that come with it.
Yeah, if you want to anger Broncos fans right now, just say, the Chiefs are still more of a favorite to win the Super Bowl than you guys.
See, that is insane to me. How is that even
possible?
Because,
again, the Chiefs become a liability for the books. If they're way down, people are going to bet the Chiefs, and then if they do make that miracle run, make it, win it, then now the books are on the hook. So you see that with like the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Lakers, those teams that you're never going to get the proper number. I mean, the Chiefs should not be at that number right now. I mean, they're out of the playoffs, but they know if they put it at a plus 2,000 or whatever, everyone's going to hammer it. And then if they somehow pull off the Chiefs magic that they do, now the books are on the hook at a bad number with a lot of tickets. So that's it. But yeah, as far as Denver, look, Denver has the possibility of like getting to the AFC Championship, and Denver is a tough place to play. It's whether you believe that they can then win it. And yeah, there's definitely, if you look at all the numbers that you spit out, it doesn't paint a good picture. And then we watch them winning these close games, and you give them credit, but we see it. There's always teams every year that like the Steelers a few years ago when they were like 11-0, and everyone's like, yeah, this team is not going anywhere, and they didn't. So it feels like Denver and New England are the two teams that people are pinpointing there. Where with New England, again, favorable schedule, they've taken advantage of it. What's going to happen in the playoffs in a big spot?
Yeah, we'll see what Denver, because like you said, we can't take away their wins. I mean, they have been winning, and some of those fourth quarter comebacks have been absolutely phenomenal to see with Bo Nix in Denver. But like I said to you last night, I mean, when we're talking about leading the NFL in passes, pass attempts, in the first half, he's thrown 205, and in the second half, it's been 182. So it's not even been a fourth quarter comeback thing. So, like I said, we'll see. We'll see how Denver looks, and they've got this bye this week that I think can help any team, especially when it's this late in the season. So we'll see what they're able to do. But yeah, the Chiefs being, I mean, I understand it, but the Chiefs being favored is just, that will piss off Broncos fans. As it should, though, Adam. You would be pissed too. You would be mad if we were talking about that.
I don't know
Dallas.
why. See, but I don't know why fans care, like what other people say. I see, oh, we're so disrespected. Like, who cares? You're 9-2. In position for a 1 seed. Why do you care what everyone thinks? I mean, and again, all they need to do is go prove it in the playoffs. That's all.
That's true. Let's see it. Let's see it happen. The one piece of news that we did get here, just for relevance for tomorrow, is that CJ Stroud is not going to play this one. So that's why we were just talking back and forth. That was the only piece of news that we had. But he's going to miss that third straight game with the concussion. So we know D'Amico Ryans told us that backup Davis Mills is going to get the start once again. But it hasn't really, if we look at the stats there, it hasn't really been bad. You're really looking at starting Nico Collins. I mean, everyone else, we like that Jaden Higgins is kind of his play time is on the rise. He's kind of rising up the depth chart slowly. So that's still someone I would hang on to, but he is not in start territory unless you're in a really bad spot. Woody Marks, we talked about yesterday and our expectations for him. But yeah, this game for when they play. When do they play? Is that tomorrow? I'm really out of it.
I thought I was the one on a little sleep. Apparently
you don't
not.
have any sleep. But yeah, the Texans at home tomorrow, excuse me, against the Bills. So we won't have Stroud.
Yeah, it's Woody Marks that you're playing. I know the numbers weren't great last week, but we've seen the utilization be there now 2 weeks in a row, and you're hoping this Buffalo run defense that's been terrible that Marks can take advantage of. So he's someone you're getting in. Obviously, Nico Collins as well. And yeah, the Jaden Higgins, you're kind of holding on, hoping the offense could get a little bit better. We're starting to see him get more involved in the offense, but yeah, there's not a lot for the Texans offense right now. Their defense has been really good. So interesting matchup here against the Bills, which we've seen the Bills just be very up and down. So they're coming off a nice win, and they're still a game and a half behind New England. They've lost to New England once, so if they want any chance of winning the division, they got to get a W tomorrow.
Yeah, and Woody Marks, like you said, over the past couple of games, we've seen him distance himself from Nick Chubb, which was our expectations maybe earlier in the year, but it's happening now. So it looks good. I mean, over those 2 games, you have 72% of the snaps, 78% of the rushing attempts, and then he's averaged 11.1 points and like a healthy 70 utilization score, which you can find at fantasylife.com. So when I upload my rankings here for today, low end RB2 is kind of where I'm going to have him. And that's probably where he's going to be the rest of the way unless we see a really big downturn in some of that utilization. But again, CJ Stroud going to miss that third straight game with a concussion. Hopefully we see him back sooner rather than later, but Davis Mills has not been bad for our fantasy teams. We can at least say that. We're going to continue on here, Adam. We are going to go through the running back report card because we've had so many questions on running backs going into week 12 that we're going to talk through Derrick Henry, TreVeyon Henderson, RJ Harvey. We're going to break those names down and more here coming up next. Oh, the vibes are immaculate on this Wednesday. How could they not be when we're talking through fantasy football going into week 12 and listening to Sabrina Carpenter? One day away, Adam, by the way. You're saying you're tired today? Watch out on Friday. I'll be like, who's playing when? What game is this? What player are we talking about? It'll be great. It'll be fine. Like I said, if I did that 18-inning game and had 2 hours of sleep with air, I can do this.
Yeah, I don't know. It feels like a concert might be a little bit more taxing on the energy.
I don't think so.
No?
Okay. That game was, there was a lot. There was a lot of emotional.
That's
it's
why,
emotional. Yeah. You're just like, and then at some point you just say, okay, can anyone finish this game, please? It's just a playoff game, a World Series game. You couldn't leave.
Oh yeah, no way. Can't.
You couldn't leave. You would have never let me forget it. You'd have made fun of me for the rest of my life.
That is true.
So we'll get that going. Don't worry. I'll send you a video of when she sings Espresso, your favorite song. I'll make sure to
I
do that for
appreciate
you.
that.
Okay, thank you.
I'll be waiting for that.
No, I know you will. I know you will. Running back report cards. That's what I wanted to talk through here today because we've got questions on, all the guys and their expectations for week 12. Woody Marks, RJ Harvey. I wanted to start first with just really quickly here. Derrick Henry for the Ravens, just our expectations for him the rest of the way, because when you look at his fantasy points, week 11, that was going up against Cleveland, right? 20.2 fantasy points. Fantastic. But that was finally a game where we say there's the Derrick Henry we know and love, because week 9, 13.1 fantasy points, week 10, 11.4. Right after their bye, they played Chicago. He had 19.1 fantasy points, but it's been a little bit up and down so far this season. I mean, you have lows as low as 2.3 fantasy points. I know that was against Cleveland week 2, but it hasn't been the Derrick Henry that we say is, this just dominant force. Of course, if you have him, you've been playing him, but he has remained, efficient on the ground. At least we can say that in 2025. You look at the yards per attempt, 4.8, yards after contact, 3.3, which is 9th, and then 10 plus yard attempts, 12.8%, which is at 7th. So to me, Adam, no one's really asking if they need to start or sit him, because if you have him, like I said, you're going to be starting him. But the rest of the way, it looks like maybe they're going to be a little bit more focused on the ground game. So to me, mid-range RB2. I think he has high-end, really low-end RB1 upside, but for right now, he's just going to be right there in my rankings going into this weekend.
Yeah, I would say some people might label him a disappointment, but that's also because the expectations were so high. We knew at some point it was going to slow down for him, and it has started to. We just haven't seen the big runs. I've also seen him stopped a lot more at the goal line than we have seen in recent seasons. But by the time the season ends, we'll probably look up and be like, okay, the numbers were still good. You could not expect what he did last year to even come close to that. That was a historic season, and Lamar Jackson being out certainly didn't help. But we also see Henry, when the calendar flips to December, those numbers usually are good. These defenders just don't want to get tackled by him or take him on anymore.
Yeah.
And you do look at the schedule upcoming, and it looks good with the Jets, Bengals, Steelers, Bengals again. Does have a tough matchup against the Patriots in Week 16. The Patriots have shut everyone down so far on the ground. But the volume is going to be there. You're looking at probably 18 to 22 carries for him. We know he's not involved much in the passing game, and that's where they had a couple games earlier this year where they were playing from behind. And that's why I think you see the numbers are down a little bit, because there were games of 11, 12, 8 carries. But since week 6, it's been 18 carries or more, and that's probably the range where you're going to see him the rest of the way.
And I look at their schedule for you already said it, but it's looking nice, at least for the next handful, right? Because they have the Jets this weekend, then they still haven't taken on the Bengals twice. So they get the Bengals twice in the next 5 weeks, which is great for us in fantasy football. And so I also look at them, and over the last 4 games, and you guys can see this in the utilization report, either in just the drop down where all the data is or the write up from Dwayne McFarland. But the last 4 games, the Ravens really are the second most run heavy team right now. And so that's why I said they're you see this shift a little bit where they're just shifting and they're centering the playoff push around making sure that their ground game is solid. And that's what we've seen from Derrick Henry as well. So that's why you look, again, no one listening needs us to tell you that you're probably going to start Derrick Henry, but knowing that he gets to play the Bengals twice and they give up the #1 boost to opposing running backs, you're going to be really happy about that. So you're right, Adam. We are probably going to look back 4 weeks from now and say, oh yeah, there's Derrick Henry, 20 points, 25, 23, whatever it's going to be. That feels like what the run out is going to look like. Like you said, not a great matchup week 16 against New England. Green Bay is not necessarily an easy matchup either, and they are on the road in that one for 17. But at least if you have Derrick Henry and you're in the playoffs, you get week 15, the Cincinnati Bengals. What more could you ask for? Nothing.
Yeah, that'll be a good start to the playoffs for many people.
Yeah, no kidding. Hey, Aaron Jones for the Minnesota Vikings. People are asking, because I think this is the last week. A lot of the trade deadlines for fantasy football, in your leagues was probably last week. A handful of them are this week. I have a couple this week as well. I've gotten some questions on Aaron Jones and trading for him and what we've seen so far, at least in the last few weeks, because he's really become that RB1. Jordan Mason has been, to me, disappointing, especially when we did not see Aaron Jones for a few weeks. I thought Jordan Mason would really take over that backfield, and he just didn't. But over the last 2 games, 12.5 points per game, a really healthy utilization utilization score, 70% snap share, 71% of the rushing attempts. That's really what sets him apart here, Adam. So to me, if you can get anyone that's trading you or willing to give you Aaron Jones, I would say, yeah, that might be someone that you look at to go forward in the future. I don't know if a lot of people will, but they have, the Cowboys at some point, the Commanders, the Giants, the Lions. Yeah, it's not a bad schedule if you're looking for a running back.
Yeah, you just have to hope that the offense gets better because the utilization is there. It's just we haven't seen touchdowns because the offense has struggled a bit, and he has 1 touchdown in his last 4 games. So, he's involved in the pass game. He's getting the touches. So you need these games to stay competitive, and hopefully he can find the end zone. But he's a guy that probably shouldn't cost you much to acquire because
he shouldn't.
Yeah, he's, we don't think of him as a top running back in fantasy where maybe you can get him at a cheap cost and he can help you in your RB2 spot.
Yeah, and you'll look back at the fantasy points scored right now and say, ugh, like what are they, why would I want to do that? Like 5, 11.8, 15.9, 11.1. And I get that. That's just saying if you're really down bad at running back and maybe someone's a little bit asleep at the wheel right now and saying, they look at the box score only and say, well, I don't like this for Aaron Jones. I'm going to try and go get something else. Starting off at Dallas week 15 for the fantasy playoffs, like that's something that we have circled. And then at New York, the New York Giants, I should say, for week 16. 17 not as easy, but still there for Detroit. So he is definitely someone that, if available, if someone's maybe shopping him around, I think you should look there because I think he has sneaky, like he could be a sneaky RB1 down the stretch. So that's one more to look at here. And then the last one that we've got a ton of questions on. What do you think? Does Ramondre Stevenson come back? And if he does, I know they play the Cincinnati Bengals, but that means that we might have a shared split backfield. Do you think TreVeyon Henderson has done enough where they just say, you know what? We have to give him a little bit more work? Because in the back of my mind, Adam, I don't think they're thinking that. They don't care about our fantasy teams. Of course not.
Yeah, I'm still concerned that we are going to see quite a bit of Stevenson. And that's okay if you have Henderson, as long as Henderson is involved 50, 60% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a tough position because you felt like if you have Henderson now, you feel comfortable starting him, and then you're like, well, there's still a chance that we're gonna see Stevenson, especially near the goal line. So
yeah,
I think in most instances, if you have Henderson, you're just starting him and seeing, especially this week, right?
mm-hmm.
I think both guys can have good games. You're just hoping, though, it's more in the direction of Henderson, that the explosiveness, the goal line carry where he carried the pile into the end zone, that he showed enough that they go, all right, we'll at least go 60-40 in the direction of Henderson, but we still don't want to completely eliminate Stevenson. But yeah, we will be holding our breath watching that game, assuming Stevenson plays, because they did say that Stevenson will practice today. And if he does practice, then my guess is he will return. But again, it is a good matchup here against the Bengals where both guys, even with limited touches, could go off. I just hope Henderson is still getting double-digit touches in the offense, or at least in the passing game. If you're going to give me 3 to 5 catches from Henderson, I'll take that. And what you need to see is when he gets those touches early in the game, break off another long run. Yeah. Take it to the house. So they go, all right, yeah.
This is it.
How are we going away from this? We don't have many explosive players in our offense. We need this guy on the field more.
Yeah, it's to me, like, if I haven't uploaded my rankings yet, but right now I'm going to put him in like Ramondre Stevenson would be back. But if it was just TreVeyon Henderson going this weekend and we got news that Ramondre could not go, he would be my RB6. Like it maybe top 5, to be totally honest, just because of the matchup and everything that we've seen so far. But over those last 4 games, we've really seen him improve the utilization score. The last 2 games, 30.2 points per game. And I know that's based on matchup, but we have to look at the matchup this weekend. It's really nice for him. The Bengals are the worst against running backs. So I'm looking at this and saying, we'll have to see what happens. Hopefully, like you said, Ramondre Stevenson for his managers can come back, but hopefully we see a healthy split where both of them can eat in this offense here. We're going to continue on. It's Matthew Berry. We're talking through some of his rankings for week 12, getting his takes on everything else here coming up next. Appreciate everyone hanging out with us on this Wednesday right here. Fantasy Life on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. We've got the one and only Matthew Berry joining us right here. You can find his rankings for Week 12, NBCSports.com. So make sure you go and check him out. Matthew, welcome in. How you doing this morning? Afternoon? Morning?
You know what? I'm good, Kendall. How are you?
Oh, we're doing great. We're doing great. Yeah.
Thanks. I'm coming to you live from the beautiful NBC Sports cafeteria.
Oh.
I just got into work, grabbing a little breakfast before, of course, fantasy football happy hour at noon on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Also be on Peacock later.
There we go.
So what are you guys talking about today?
Breakfast sounds good. We're talking, we've been talking a lot of backup running backs, Matthew, because we've gotten a ton of questions on, what happens if it is Emmanuel Wilson? What happens if Bucky Irving's back? I kind of want to go, though, to RJ Harvey really quick with you, because we saw RJ Harvey get the workload, right? We said, okay, well, he had 61% of the snaps and the rushing attempts. It looked good, but it didn't equate to fantasy points. So I'm curious with you, Matthew. They're on a bye this week, so, you're not using him. But what are your expectations for him rest of season?
Yeah, you know what I mean? I think Dwayne McFarland did a great job talking about Harvey and the utilization report that he does every week on fantasylife.com. It's 100% free. Go check it out. It is one of, if not the most useful article in fantasy every single week, where he looks at everything. And he talked about exactly this, Kendall, what you're saying, that RJ Harvey, I get it. It didn't look great box score-wise, but underlying utilization was very encouraging. As you mentioned, over 60% of the snaps. And so, look, we like Harvey's talent. I think the bye comes at the right time where they know that he's going to have to be the lead back for the rest of the way for a team that obviously has, Super Bowl aspirations, and a chance to be the number one seed in the AFC, I should say. So, I think they'll work with him on some of the deficiencies. Pass pro has been a little bit of an issue for him. But, look, Sean Payton likes multiple running backs. So you'll still see an annoying amount of Jaleel McLaughlin and some Tyler Beatty in there. But I think RJ Harvey is probably a low-end RB2 the rest of the way with weekly RB1 upside because, of course, that offense can get going. And, we've seen him have a nose for the end zone so far this season.
With Kirk Cousins taking over at quarterback for Atlanta and Drake London out at least a week, how are you looking at the Falcons offense from a fantasy perspective?
I think Kyle Pitts is still a, low-end tight end one. But I think they go, listen, Cousins he just looks done, dude. I mean, there's no zip on the ball. I don't know if it's the Achilles still lingering and he can't lean in, he can't step into throws or whatever, but I don't know. I know people are talking about Darnell Mooney. Yeesh. I mean, he has not been productive at all this year. There's nothing about Cousins that excites me. So, Adam, I think because of the tight end position, I think Pitts is a usable tight end this week. But I think they go run heavy. To me, I think the biggest beneficiary is Tyler Algier. Bijan's going to get his. But Tyler Algier is a good running back, and they like him. And I could see them going with a 1-2 punch and trying to use Bijan more in the passing game to make up for the lack of London. And, I could see Algier getting 12 touches. And obviously he's got a 50-50 shot at the end zone because they like him when they get in close. So I actually think Tyler Algier is a viable flex play this week.
Talking again with Matthew Berry, NBCSports.com is where you can go check out his rankings. Matthew, what about, I'm going to ask you about all the teams that we're not going to see this week, but so the Chargers laid an egg for everyone in week 11. It was guillotine leagues. You got chopped. Justin Herbert didn't do anything for you. Ladd McConkey, everyone for all fantasy managers. So brutal. And so do we just downgrade this whole team the rest of the way?
One of my guillotine leagues.
Oh, same here.
Again,
it was
Kendall,
awful.
sorry,
I started Herbert. He killed one of my teams as well. Do you downgrade this whole team? I mean, it looks like they're really, if we're talking about teams that are on the rise, the Rams and some of these other teams, it feels like the Chargers are kind of going the opposite direction right now.
There's no question, Kendall. That was embarrassing. Whatever, it happens. You lose games, but to just get their ass kicked. Let's be clear. They got their ass kicked by the Jaguars. That's the least prepared. Adam, I don't know if you agree with me here. Kendall, I don't know if you agree with me here, but I think that's the least prepared I've seen a Jim Harbaugh coach team in my life, college or pro. They just, and I get it somewhat. Again, the offensive line, it's just tough. It's a turnstile there, but still, just no fight whatsoever against the Jaguars. Credit to Jacksonville. But they should not have gotten blown out, and they did. And then look at their upcoming schedule, Kendall. Like the Chargers they have the Raiders, I believe, out of the bye. I'm on the phone, so I don't have it in front of me. But I believe they have the Raiders out of the bye. But then the rest of the way, like they play Denver again, they play the Chiefs. I think they play the Chiefs. Like it's a really tough schedule. I think they might play Baltimore off the top of my head. Like if you have it in front of you, you can read it out. But like it's
Raiders,
Raiders,
Eagles,
Go ahead.
Chiefs, Cowboys, Texans, Broncos. It is very tough.
And I think the Cowboys, Quinton Williams has changed that defense. Like, do I think they're going to be awesome? No. But I don't think they're a pushover anymore. I think they're like a middle-of-the-pack defense now because teams are not going to be able to run on them thanks to Williams. And, so again, they're not scary, but they're also not they're not Cincinnati where you're just like, oh, you got to start everyone against the Cowboys now. I think they've improved that defense and kind of put it together to be, passable. And so, right, you mentioned that schedule, Adams. We just talked about it. I'm nervous. I'm nervous about the Chargers. I'll give you guys a hint. So we do on Fantasy Football Happy Hour on our Wednesday show. We're DraftKings is a sponsor, and so one of our segments is we do on Wednesdays. We do early line. I'm sorry. We do basically futures bets. And my future bet that I'm going to give out on air today for that segment is the Chargers to not make the playoffs at plus 135. Because, again, that schedule is just so brutal down the stretch. And, hopefully they get Amari and Hampton back out after the bye. But it's tough. And the other thing that's tough for fantasy managers is that they have so many weapons. And they all laid an egg against the Jags. But, it's a little bit like, is it a QJ week? Is it a McConkey? Is it a Gadsden week? What about Keenan Allen, right? And then especially whether it's Hampton or Vidal, who's starting at running back. Like, they've just got a lot of mouths to feed. I trust in McConkey. I trust in Gadsden. I think Herbert ultimately will be okay. But if the question is, am I lowering expectations and panicking a little bit on my Chargers? The answer is yes.
Are you starting to feel more optimistic on Kenneth Walker after what you've seen the last 2 weeks?
I mean, I guess a little bit. Kendall, you're the Seattle gal. Like, this is a better question for Kendall than it is for me. But like, sort of, but not really. Like, we believe in the pro Ken Walker argument. This is mine. Has always been that, look, super talented, but needs a ton of volume. Has never been the most efficient running back. He's a guy that 2 yards a carry, 2 yards a carry, 2 yards a carry, 80 yards a carry. You know what I mean? He's a home run hitter. He has been it traditionally, and you're always like, well, will he be used in the passing game? He's a decent pass catcher, and he's going to get the goal line work. And for the majority of his time in Seattle, he was the guy, and it was fine, and you lived with all those, and the injury issues. But now, do you feel better about Ken Walker? Sure. Are you all the way in? No, because Charbonnet is still there. And Kendall, Sam Darnold's come back to earth a little bit. I don't know if you have a different opinion, but I know the Seahawks are your team.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. And the more frustrating part, Matthew, that we've talked about all season is that Kenneth Walker's looked better. And so it's not that Zach Charbonnet's been running away with this job, but Kenneth Walker right now over the last, 4 games, he's taken a lead as the 1A, but it's still a 1A, 1B situation. Yeah. Charbonnet has 43% snap share, 43% attempt share. So you put him down, he's an RB3 for me in my rankings this weekend. Zach Charbonnet is, but Kenneth Walker isn't that much higher because they're still going to split work. I think that's the more disappointing part is that just to me, and I don't know about you, Matthew, but Kenneth Walker has just looked better, but they're not leaning into him. It's still a 1A, 1B situation with Kenneth Walker at the top now.
Yeah, I agree, Kendall. You and I are on the same page here. Bad question by Adam. Tough question. Come on.
Here's my question for you, Matthew. Where can people find you? I know you said you were at the NBC offices right now at the cafeteria getting breakfast, which sounds amazing. But where can people find you this week?
Yeah, well, obviously we'll be on NBC and Peacock all week long with Fantasy Football Happy Hour available wherever you get your podcast, or go check us out on YouTube at noon. We're live at noon. We take all the questions. Of course, Sunday morning Fantasy Football pregame starting at 11 a.m. Eastern all the way up to kickoff. We answer more questions than any other pregame show, and then I'll of course be on Football Night in America this week before the Rams and Buccaneers on Sunday Night Football on NBC and Peacock. But I always ask everyone, hey, come sign up for my newsletter at fantasylife.com. It's 100% free. We send it out every single day. Kendall, you and Adam contribute to it as well. And, it's a quick rundown of it's a 5-minute read that tells you everything you need to know what's going on in the world of fantasy football. It's 100% free. Sign up for it at fantasylife.com. What do you have to lose? If you don't like it, just unsubscribe. Not a big deal. Go ahead and do it. And the last thing I want to say here, speaking of this, Adam and Kendall, I just want to take a moment here to congratulate the two of you. I know you guys have just done a great job in building this show. So many people love the Fantasy Life radio show on Sirius XM. And I would encourage everyone to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have a YouTube channel specifically for this show. For all you Kendall fans, for all you Adam fans, even if you love Kendall and tolerate Adam, which is kind of where I'm at, I think it's a great a chance to sign up and subscribe to that channel. So just want to let everyone know about the YouTube channel that we're doing for specifically this radio show.
Awesome. Matthew, we appreciate that. Thank you so much. And we'll have a great week, and we get to talk to you next Wednesday. Appreciate it.
Sounds great, Kendall. Thanks for not bringing up my Commanders. I appreciate it.
No, we know. It's a sensitive subject. We won't do it till next week. Appreciate it.
Fair enough. See you guys.
All right, there he goes. Matthew Berry, like he said, NBCsports.com is where you can go and find his rankings. And you can go, like he said, too, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Go and hit that like button across our videos. You can see Adam in his Halloween costume from a few weeks ago. If you missed that, you definitely want to check that one out. We've got quarterback streamers that I want to talk through for Week 12. A handful of options that you can go to if you're a little bit burned at the QB position right now. We're going to give you those names here coming up next. You are listening to Fantasy Life right here. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you on this Wednesday, talking through quarterback streamers that you can look at if you need them in Week 12. I don't know, Adam, I hope people don't, but we had some quarterback injuries last week, so maybe they do. Michael Penix Jr. on IR right now. Aaron Rodgers was probably someone that you were just streaming or looking at in Superflex formats, but his status is up in the air still for this weekend. We'll see if he's able to go. If he had Bo Nix, Justin Herbert, I can't imagine that you were having anyone, Tua Tagovailoa or anyone from the Commanders, but maybe you were. So there are some big questions here going into the weekend. CJ Stroud has been ruled out for that game this weekend. Jackson Dart, I will say, didn't mention this off the top, but he looks like he's expected back at practice today, or he was at practice today. So that's a good sign for him to be able to hopefully go this weekend. He suffered that concussion in Week 10. Obviously, we saw Jameis Winston over the weekend. Wasn't as fun as we would have hoped. I mean, it was the Jameis Winston experience fully, but you didn't get many fantasy points from. We were really looking at Wan'Dale Robinson in that situation. Theo Johnson as well. But it looks like maybe we get Jackson Dart back. Who's your top streamer is it Bryce Young? I'll say Jacoby Brissett, but I know Jacoby Brissett isn't going to be available. So that's usually why I leave him out here. He's over 58% rostered. So I'm looking at him and saying, I wish if he's available, he's the top choice. But is it Bryce Young, Tyler Shuck for you? What are you looking at?
Yeah, I think if it's not Brissett, I guess it's Bryce Young. He's coming off a good performance. They're likely going to be playing from behind. We've seen the San Francisco defense struggle. They had a lot of injuries on that side of the football, and you can move the ball on them. So, yeah, it would be him. And, of course, I am going to start him in my Superflex League this week after benching him last week for the aforementioned Jameis Winston. And if I would have played Young, I would have won. Instead, I lost. So, I'll go back to Young this week. The great tandem of Young and Shuck in a Superflex League.
There we go. I mean,
who can do it better than that?
What could go wrong? So now that you're starting Bryce Young, he's going to give you 9 or 10, right?
Yeah, he'll be back to his 160 passing yards. Hopefully not. I mean, again, Carolina is in contention for the division. They have a lot to play for here. So hopefully Young can continue. Because, again, we saw last year where he struggled and then got benched and then came back and finished the season strong. So kind of hoping for a repeat here.
Well, and the matchup isn't bad, right? I mean, we just saw what Brissett was able to do against the 49ers. So that's the other thing you can look at is that this 49ers defense, they ranked 28th in passer rating allowed and passing yards allowed, 29th in completion percentage allowed. So there's some signs here for Bryce Young to have just a good enough day to get you the fantasy points that you need. I think same thing with Tyler Shuck. People might forget, but because they were on their bye, but Tyler Shuck, the last time we saw him, he played well in his last start, 282 yards, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers, 19 fantasy points. points. Not to say we're going to get that week in and week out, but feels like he's taking strides as a passer. And, that offense still has the weapons that we say, all right, you got Chris Olave over there. We'll look at Juwan Johnson as a potential streamer in the tight end category. So, yeah, Tyler Shutt could be good. And breaking news here, or I don't know if it's breaking news or maybe we expected it, but Shedeur Sanders is getting the start going up against the Raiders. Not someone that we're recommending as a potential streamer there, but just like we wouldn't recommend Tyrod Taylor. But I guess if you're in those desperate deep leagues, Adam, maybe you go there.
You probably don't want to,
maybe
but
maybe you
but
don't.
yeah, at least there'll be a lot of storylines this week. I'm sure that'll get very little attention.
It just blows my mind. Anyway, Shedeur Sanders is getting the start. So we'll get to see him again this week in a first start of the season as well. It's time for the water cooler, though. We're going through the news and notes you need to know. We're going through your questions as well. So send them in if you can. Water cooler here coming up next. It is about that time for the Fantasy Life Water Cooler. This is where we go through all the pieces of news that you might have missed, get you caught up and up to speed, ready to go for week 12 across the NFL and get you ready to set those starting lineups. We've got Thursday Night Football tomorrow, which we'll start breaking down. And of course, we're here to take any and all of your questions. So if you can, give us a call, 888-963-2682, or you can press that new call-in button on the Sirius XM app. You can also find us over there on X at Valenzuela17, at Adam Ronis every single day. So if you have questions, can't get through on the phone lines, can't call in right now, just send us a message over there. We're going to try and get to as many of them as we can. And of course, like Matthew Berry said a couple segments ago, go to fantasylife.com, sign up for that newsletter. I don't think you're going to hate it and unsubscribe. So make sure you go and do that. And it's 100% free in your inbox 7 days a week. Same with all of our articles, 100% free as well. If you've been thinking about Fantasy Life Plus, though, make sure you go and use that code SXM20, gets you 20% off at checkout. And Adam, we've got a YouTube channel, so people can go support that. Subscribe if you guys want to see our put a face to a name to a face, whatever it is, Adam. They can go over there and do that and see Adam in a Halloween costume from a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, you got to tell them what the Halloween costume was.
That's the whole thing.
So,
you got to leave them on the edge of their seats, right?
And
say,
wow,
I wonder what
exactly.
Okay. See, we're professionals here. I wonder what Adam wore on Halloween. No, go check it out on our YouTube channel. I'll tweet that out, and Adam's tweeted out at Adam Ronis again is where you can go and find that. But yeah, we're ready to go. Shedeur Sanders getting the start. So we just got that news. That's breaking here. Listen, it's not like we've been starting anyone on that team and been excited about it. You're looking at Quinshon Judkins, really. I mean, when it was Dylan Gabriel, we were looking at, the tight end situation because he loved to throw to his tight ends. But even that's really calmed down in the last couple of weeks. I know I have Harold Fannin on a couple of just my benches in some of those deeper formats, and I haven't really been looking his way to start him. 8.4, 4.6 fantasy points since their bye. Again, they're going up against Las Vegas, who we've seen it. Not a great defense. You can wreak some havoc on them a little bit. But yeah, Shedeur Sanders, I mean, Jerry Jeudy has still been just a guy this season. There's really no one that you're looking at here besides Quinshon Judkins.
Yeah, it's been pretty much that way. Like Jerry Jeudy had that decent game 2 weeks ago. Like I told you, I have him in one league with 20 roster spots. That's how bare the waiver wire is that I haven't had the ability to cut him yet. And I haven't even I don't even remember the last time he was in my lineup. Even seeing what he did 2 weeks ago, this past week, I was like, no, I can't do it. The tight ends, usually if they're both in there, they cut into each other, even though Fannin is more of a slot guy, not really a tight end. But it's just this offense has been so bad. And even Quinshon Judkins, look, if you have him, you're starting him, but it has not been good. This offense is finally taken him down because he's not involved in the passing game. And if they have a game script, which they've had most of the year, where they're playing from behind, it hurts him. He's getting massive volume. We always say that, right? We want a running back that's getting volume. That's great. Judkins is getting it, but it has not resulted in positive games the last 3 weeks. He had that 3-touchdown game against Miami, and they were playing from ahead the whole way. The one game this year where they just blew a team out. And even in that game, because Judkins had a rushing prop of in the 90s, he had 70 something, I think, at halftime. And I
remember that game.
Yeah, he still didn't get there. He had 25 carries for 84 yards, and that included a long run of 46. Mm-hmm. And that's the other thing. we're not seeing any long runs recently. The last 3 games, the long run, 6, 11, and 16. So if he doesn't score a touchdown, you're getting 5, 6, 7 points.
Mm-hmm.
You're ranking him still probably in the RB2 level every week just because, again, if he does find the end zone with between 15 and 20 touches, it's going to be a good day. But he's only scored a touchdown in 3 of the games he's played in this year. And this is a spot, though, where he should score this week, right?
I mean, he should. I've got him ranked RB15. I know it's Vegas, but it's also the Browns.
I know. And the total is 36.5. Think about that.
Yeah.
36.5 total for an indoor game.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
There's no weather here.
The only saving, like the only thing I look at with Quinshon Judkins, all right, so he had 2 goal line carries, 4 red zone attempts, didn't score like you said. Then he had 2+ targets in 3. He's had 2+ targets in 3 straight games. I'm looking at their schedule, and if I want to tell myself a story that it's okay, I mean, they've got the Raiders this week, then the 49ers, they take on the Titans, the Bears, and the Bills, and then the Steelers one more time. So
like bad. 2 of those games, good. You could see a script where it is neutral or a close game and they're actually not getting blown out. But
yeah,
it's just you're starting him if you have him. But I think you're disappointed. Like it looked like. So I was jealous of the people who had Quinshon Judkins early in the year. No, like I was like, man, I cannot believe people got him, around 11, 12, 13. This was like when we didn't know exactly what was going on, and we had no idea when he was coming back. And then he comes back at week 2, doesn't participate in training camp, and has 10 carries for 61 yards and 3 catches for 10 yards. And like, oh, man. Then he has a touchdown against Green Bay, a touchdown against Detroit, getting the volume. And I was like, wow, this sucks. I don't have any. I don't feel that way now. Now I'm like, well, okay, cool. Because it has not really been great since.
I know. I have them in one league called the Stacked League. And it's just that team started off so hot. You have those teams all the time. They start off so hot and then all of a sudden it's really cooled down. So I'm sitting with I think 7 wins, but I've lost like 2 of the last 3, I want to say. And it's just yeah, Quinshon Judkins is one of those not a problem, but is one of those guys that I have that I've said, wow, when you cool off, I start to lose games here a little bit. That's why I think sometimes, I mean, I told you, RB15 is where I have Quinshon Judkins ranked this weekend, but based on where you drafted Judkins, maybe people do have better options. Not top, I don't know if it's top 15 right now because of this matchup, but I think people really need to start looking at just matchups with Quinshon Judkins anyway going forward because of just how much he's cooled off. That maybe if they took him, I mean, I took him in the 13th round, and that was one of my last picks.
Well, you could probably have an elite running back like a Bijan, McCaffrey, or Taylor. You could have Rico Dowdle, right? Because that was a guy that you either got very late in the draft or picked up off the waiver wire. And maybe a Javonte Williams as well, who went late. So I guess it is possible you could have 3 running backs better than him. I think in most instances you don't, especially with all the injuries going down. I would say maybe you have some good backups that could go over him this week, but we're still unclear on several situations with some of these running backs. And today's practice report, well, not today doesn't matter, but like if you start seeing some of like a Bayshell Tootin, like, oh, he's not practicing today. And then tomorrow, then you're like, oh, okay, this is more serious than let on. I mean, Jaylen Warren, I think I saw, was it from Tomlin that he could have gone back in the game, but they decided to stick with Gainwell?
Yeah.
I mean, Warren said he could have gone back in too.
Yeah.
That's a little concerning when you're starting to feel good about Jaylen Warren.
I know. I don't want to talk about it because I've got him in a ton of places and he's really helped me because I loved Jaylen Warren going into the season. It felt way better than getting, and obviously it was Caleb Johnson who did not step up in this instance. But like you said, we have a ton of running backs that we just have to wait, and we're in wait and see mode. And I know that's not helpful when we're going to the waiver wire because we had so many questions on Gainwell, Sean Tucker, Bayshall Tootin, and then I said Sean Tucker. Like we just had so many questions on these backup running backs where we think, okay, if you pick them up, that's great. But then they might not even be the RB1s this weekend because all these guys come back. So it's something we'll have to wait and watch for, but I'm still picking them up, putting them on my bench, stashing them if I can. I saw one question over here at K Valenzuela 17 at Adam Ronis on X. This one's from Joe, and he said, I may have overpaid for Sean Tucker. Is he a good stash and or a playable asset moving forward, even when Bucky Irving comes back? So I think when Bucky Irving comes back at him, he's not, you have to downgrade him. And I want to see how it looks. And I don't think Sean Tucker is going to be playable at that point because it feels like it'll revert to being Bucky Irving, maybe with more of a split with when we're looking at Rachaad White and then Sean Tucker. But I do think he's still a good stash because we know that injuries happen and can occur at any time, any place. And Bucky Irving's been banged up all season now. So if he takes one wrong hit, we never want that to happen. But we could be talking about him going, back down, or maybe they wrap him in bubble wrap because they want to make sure that he doesn't continue to get hurt. So I think he's a good stash, but I wouldn't play him if Bucky Irving's back.
Yeah, that's the tricky one this week because he looked so good last week. Now, he did do this last year. He had a similar game, and then we didn't see him again. But I think the circumstances are a little bit different because Irving is coming off this injury, and they might just ease him back in. But unless we're told that, and we probably won't be, it's going to be dicey. If, like, they say Bucky Irving's playing this week, I think it's tough to play Tucker.
Yeah.
But you do want to keep him on the roster just in case. Maybe they do go. I mean, the worst scenario will be a three-way split where they do mix in Tucker and White with Bucky Irving. Then we all lose if that's the case.
I want as many backup running backs as I can right now on my bench. We've talked about how they're just so much more valuable to you down the stretch right now and have a clearer path to playing time than those wide receivers, down the depth chart, like Isaac Tesla, who Adam was making fun of like weeks ago. It's just one of those things.
In the preseason, remember when he started moving up draft boards to like,
it was like week 4 till week
well, even
4.
then, yeah. Oh yeah, we're gonna get him more involved this week. Yeah, okay. How are you gonna do that?
See, exactly. But
I mean, if anything, it should be now with Laporta out, but
yeah, that's
probably not. Well, I guess
probably not gonna happen.
Last week was a bad week because they actually moved the football in Philadelphia. They just could not convert a fourth down. I thought they were trying to set the record for most fourth downs attempted with no success.
That's why we say, though, it is so I try to have a ton of backup running backs on my bench right now because, again, just a clearer path to playing time. And unfortunately, most of the time it is with injury, which we don't want. But we're talking about Kenneth Gainwell. We're talking about Emmanuel Wilson this week. I mean, those guys are one injury away, like we just saw, from being an RB1 and even if it's for just a week, Adam, that's why you keep them. Like, you can get these spike weeks from these guys. So I would, yes, keep Sean Tucker on your bench. But if Bucky Irving's back, you have to downgrade him, and he is not necessarily startable at that point. Looking through some more of the just injury updates here, CJ Stroud is going to miss his third straight game with a concussion. They play tomorrow night. So if you've had CJ Stroud, I figured that you have just kept, your backup quarterback, your streaming quarterback, but it's going to be another week without him. And then Jackson Dart is going to practice today. So that's good news, Adam. If you have, Wan'Dale Robinson, if you have Theo Johnson, I tried to pick up Theo Johnson in a couple of leagues where I need a streaming tight end this weekend. I hope I get him. They haven't run yet, but we'll see. So Jackson Dart back out there. That's good news. And for anyone that has Jackson Dart as well, like, we're going to rank him very high because we know that he gives us everything that we want on the ground with the rushing upside. Do you think, though, that so they've gone ahead and fired their head coach, do you think that they pull Jackson Dart back a little bit in the designed rush attempts game because he's been so hurt?
Yeah, I would think so. I know that once you're out there, though, that natural instinct that he has, if he sees lanes to take off, he will, but you probably will see fewer design runs, which, again, a lot of his fantasy value is tied to that running, but I'm assuming they're going to play from behind here. I expect Detroit to come out and rebound. We see it every time. Whenever they lose a game, the next game they tend to cover the spread and put up a big performance. They're at home. It's a good matchup and a defense they can take advantage of. So Dart might just be, getting that prevent defense late with big lanes to run, take off, and pile up the numbers that way.
Yeah, I agree with that one. So again, though, that doesn't mean that he's outside the top 15. I'm going to have him right now. And again, he's questionable. We don't know if he's going to be good to go. But again, a good sign that he's back at practice. I have him QB 11 this weekend with guys like Brock Purdy, Dak Prescott, Jared Goff ahead of him. That's where I'm going to have him.
Dak Prescott's the tricky one this week.
I'm nervous about it. I'm not going to lie. And I really need a win in GST. Let's just say that. Oh, no, I don't have him in GST.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I have Jalen Hurts. I'm on the other side of Philly.
So, because Dak, I think for a lot of the season, we were like, oh, he's matchup proof. And then he went into Denver and did not play well against a good defense. And, he did play well week 1, but things have changed. Philadelphia has added some players on the defensive side. Philadelphia's defense the last 2 weeks has been unbelievable. And that's part of the reason why they've been able to win games with their offense being mediocre, because the defense has just carried them. So, it's always tough to sit Dak, though, because, you got Pickens, you got Lamb. But it is tricky this week with him. I think in a lot of instances you're playing him, but I guess it also depends on who your other quarterback is. Like you would play, but you said, though, I have him in Dart in a league. I'm going to play Dak.
Yeah, I would play Dak. But I've got him QB9 this week. And I don't know if people have, unless they have Jared Goff or maybe Matthew Stafford. That's been one where I've said, okay, maybe you picked up Matthew Stafford as your second quarterback in 1 QB leagues. Like that would be a guy that I say, okay, well then you can turn to him. Same with Goff only this weekend. That's a spot start going up against the Giants. Yeah. So
he could put up 3-4 touchdowns this week.
Exactly. But yeah, Dak's always tricky. And it's so annoying for fantasy football. But hopefully we just get a big enough game, right? We'll take 20 fantasy points. 22.
Yeah, I'll take it. Give me. I'll take 2 touchdowns and 250. I mean, obviously, I want more, but it's a tough matchup here.
It is. We've got news here, unfortunate news here with Michael Penix Jr. So I saw coming in, it looks like that he is going to have that season-ending knee injury or season-ending surgery for his knee. We know he was already placed on IR, so we were going to be without him for the next 4 weeks. But it says after further medical evaluation, it has been determined that Michael Penix Jr. will undergo season-ending surgery for a partially torn ACL. Brutal. He's had a lot of injuries in his career so far.
Yes.
That's his 3rd or 4th, I want to say. Not good.
Yeah, Atlanta is in big trouble, and they don't have their first round pick either.
I know. What do you think they're going to do? They're in, big trouble to say. Because we've talked about this before, too, but getting injured, anytime we talk about guys mid-November into December, you worry about their status for 2026 and when they're actually able to come back.
Yeah, they're going to have to add a quarterback, but they won't have their first round pick.
Well, Justin Fields, welcome welcome to Atlanta. What? Why? Something's going to have to happen where it's cheap. They're not going to go with Kirk. Well, they're paying Kirk, but they can't go with Kirk Cousins, right?
I don't think so, no.
Then you have to start worrying about Bijan Robinson, Drake London. Like if they're seriously unhappy, their future, like the future for them could be, listen, we're not happy. We don't have a quarterback. We're not close to the playoffs. They could be on their way as well.
Yeah, we're gonna find that out here this rest of the season. I mean, if London even comes back, but I do think you have to be concerned with Bijan too. They will rely on him. I agree with what Matthew Berry said in hour 1. They're probably going to just run the hell out of the ball with Bijan and Algier. We've seen formations this year with Algier at running back and Bijan lined up in the slot or wide receiver, and they're just going to have Cousins just drop the ball off to him quick. But defenses are going to see that and adjust. But yeah, it's not a good situation for Atlanta right now.
This isn't great. Kirk Cousins is going to make $35 million next year, base salary.
He's done very well.
We should get Kirk Cousins' agent. We should be signed up with him. He's making so much money.
He's had a nice career.
You have to give him credit for. Get that money while you can.
You can't. Yeah, I don't fault him.
No, heck no. We're always pro players get paid. With Kirk Cousins, it's been absolutely insane the amount of money that he's been able to get based on just his career. How many playoff appearances do we have with Kirk Cousins? One?
One.
Is it one?
I'm not sure.
That's
one,
insane.
I would say.
I think
2.
it's 1.
Yeah.
I think it's 1. Nuts. All right. We're going to continue on here. That was the Fantasy Life water cooler. Again, fantasylife.com to go subscribe to that newsletter. We'll keep an eye on all the injury reports coming out today. Those are going to be important, just like they are tomorrow as well. So we'll start breaking those down. I want to go through stock watch though. Players trending up, players trending down potentially. So we're going to talk through Chase Brown, Matthew Golden, Kenneth Walker. We're going to break those down here coming up next. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta have Xfinity. All the games all in one place, and here is what you get when you watch sports with Xfinity. You get the Sports Zone, every pro football game and over 1,000 college games, highlights and alerts all in one place. You also get the multi-view, so you can be in up to 4 stadiums at once. The Xfinity Fan View, so that means live scores, odds, and stats all in one place, and that is all personalized to you and the teams that you know and love. Enhanced 4K and the voice remote, where you can just click that button and say, just say football. Imagine all your football all in one place. Easy. Learn more at xfinity.com. Restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. We're going through stock watch. Players trending up, players trending down. What song is this, Adam? Your request.
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever.
This is your request.
This is not. I don't know who that is. I want to figure it out.
Yes, you do.
No, I really don't. Do you? You don't.
I don't know.
Stock watch. I have nowhere to go with this. I have no good transition from what we were just trying to figure out that song to stock watch. So I'm just going to go right through with it. Stock watch, players trending up, players trending down. Our expectations for them moving forward. Okay, let's start with Chase Brown. Chase Brown for you for the Bengals. Do you think that he is trending up, trending down, or a little bit neutral? And because when I look at him, so 83% of these snaps, 86% of the attempts, and 19% target share. That's in 2 games without Samaje Perine. I have not seen an update on Samaje Perine. I don't know if you have. But the Bengals schedule moving forward is also something to maybe note, because I don't know if you'd want to be buying Chase Brown right now or saying, you know what, the fantasy playoffs though. Yeah, you do want to be buying. They look nice. Ravens, Dolphins, Cardinals. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes down to the snap percentage, right? We saw this last year. That was one of the biggest appeals with Chase Brown, was he was just on the field all the time. And we started to see a little bit of a change where Perine was cutting in a little bit and you started to get concerned. But the last 2 games, 96% and 82%.
Yep.
There was a stretch there where he was at 53%, between 63%. But now it's pretty much all his backfield. We still have a chance that Joe Burrow returns. Obviously, we're waiting to see what happens. But if Burrow has made this much of an effort to get back and put in the hard work, I kind of think that he wants to come back, even if they're 3-9, right?
I think we will, because then that would be how long without him being on a field until if he waits till 2026. We had this conversation too, where we were just talking and thinking that was just too long for him to wait. And so I agree. I know our overreaction Monday was maybe we don't see Joe Burrow after all, but if he's really adamant and showing up, I will say then I don't think he comes back Thanksgiving though, because that's a short turnaround, and I know he's trying to come back on that one, but I think he would come back after Thanksgiving. That's my take.
Yeah, and then they could be 3-9 at that point.
Well, Joe doesn't care. He just wants to.
No, I know. I mean, look, if you have Burrow or you have any pieces of the offense, you want to see that. You would love to see Burrow back.
Because you're starting him whenever he decides to come back, whether it's Sunday, November 23rd is this weekend. Then, so he would want to come back that Thursday night. That's the Ravens, Bengals at Ravens. But then they go at the Bills, home to the Ravens again, and then at the Dolphins. You'd start Joe Burrow. If you have him in fantasy, you'd have to start him in every single one of those, right?
I mean, he's a guy that's been matchup proof. You start him.
Yeah.
It really depends. I mean, you're talking playoff teams, though, right? Because
yeah, for sure.
I can't see
with the Bills and the Ravens.
Well, no, I'm saying I can't see non-competitive football teams picking Burrow up. Although, actually, I put in a small bid of one of my teams that's out of it, and I got him. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to keep him away from the playoff teams.
It's a good strategy sometimes.
Again, it was a small bid. It was like $8. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to get him, and I did. And I was like, oh wow, okay, cool.
I think if you're a playoff team or if you're not, you're going to play Joe Burrow. Like we always say, never give up. And so you're not going to. If you have Joe Burrow and he's starting against the Bills, unless you have one of the other elite quarterbacks, like you're going to start him.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll just be nervous about it, which is totally fine.
Yeah, the first start you'll be. But again, if they have that losing record and they're going to put him out there, you're gonna go with it.
That makes me nervous. Jamar Chase, by the way, suspension upheld. So you're going to get T. Higgins this weekend. Big T. Higgins game. I saw that Mike Gesicki is actually going to be designated to return as well from IR. We haven't talked about him in forever. Well, I guess at least 4 weeks. But the Bengals are playing the Patriots this weekend on Sunday. So I've seen a couple people pick up Andre Yosivas. Is he someone worthwhile to you? Obviously, he goes up my rankings a little bit, but he's going to be borderline flex. I don't know if he's going to get enough or we're going to be happy about it.
I think in deeper leagues, if you're hurting a receiver, you could plug him in. It is a game where you would expect New England to put up points, and they're going to chase and play from behind and could be throwing a lot. So, yeah, I mean, that's a huge target share that's out of the picture.
That's true.
With Chase. Higgins probably going to see Christian Gonzalez. We've seen Higgins in the past without Chase put up big numbers. So, yeah, I think you could look at Yoshivash in a deeper league if you're hurting at receiver.
Trending up, trending down, staying neutral. Matthew Golden down. It's got to be. It's awful. It's over.
Yeah, that's a bad pick. That's another guy too that I missed out on. And at the beginning of the year, I was like, kind of felt bad about it. And he's had like every opportunity with all these injuries, just has not got it done. And then Christian Watson now has emerged and looked really good, and you could be getting Jaden Reed back soon too.
Yeah.
I mean, it is brutal for Golden.
It's horrible.
He has not scored a touchdown this year.
Nope. No, it's a bad pick.
Well, I'll remember him for this stretch where I was playing his over longest reception and a hit, and he did his service for my community, and that's it. I'm moving on.
Community. I mean, he's behind Dontavian Wicks. He's a wide receiver. He's the wide receiver 4.
The Packers see, you guys begged us to take a wide receiver in round 1. We didn't do it for 37 years, and now we do it, and look how it's turned out. So they are never drafting a wide receiver early again.
He's a stash. You can't start him. He's a stash option at this point. And even if guys go down in this offense, I don't even know, Adam, if we would say, yeah, now it's Matthew Golden's turn, because they've had that this season. I mean, Jaden Reed went down. There was a time when Christian Watson wasn't back. Christian Watson, to you, I mean, I don't think this is a hot take, but do you think Christian Watson could be that guy for us down the stretch where he is a fantasy playoff hero, league winner? I mean, he's averaged 11.9 points, 60 utilization score over the past 4 games. And shout out to Christian Watson, because I didn't even expect him. I expected us to start talking about him at this point in the season, like mid-November, getting into December and saying, oh, okay, well, it looks like he's, making his way back from that season-ending injury, should be fine. But what he's been able to do and the timeline that he's returned at has just been so impressive. So I know that I look at him and I have him as a high-end wide receiver 4, but down the stretch, he could get really hot with Jordan Love. I think they need someone too, because we've talked about that Tucker Kraft injury with him going down. Someone needs to step up in this offense. We know Josh Jacobs going to be him, but I think Christian Watson down the stretch has a really good chance to be a hero for some people.
Yeah, you just want to see some more targets. Like, the volume is still not ideal, but to me, the encouraging sign is just look at that snap count, 56% to 66 to 82 to 78. So he's been out there a lot. They've just missed on a couple of plays as well. He's averaging 19 and a half yards per catch. They're taking the shots deep to him. So, yeah, I do think, to me, he should be getting more targets right now. They are really struggling for playmakers, especially with Tucker Kraft out. I mean, that was a massive loss for that offense.
1,000%.
It's just huge, because he was the one guy that did a lot after the catch. So I think they need to get Watson the ball more.
Yeah, I do too. They don't do that though. They're just like, that's not our identity. I will say though, I mean, he did, for what it's worth, he had the season high target share 23% last weekend. So it's trending in the right direction. We can at least say that. Yeah, Christian Watson, if you picked him up off waivers, because that's where he would have been, you wouldn't have drafted him. You're sitting in a really nice spot.
Yeah, people did. I saw people picking him up like several weeks back, and I was like, yeah, I don't know about this. And
and now
it's looking good.
Hey, last one. Tyrone Tracy for the Giants. Trending up, stock trending up, trending down, or a little bit neutral. He still holds a slight lead over Devin Singletary, but we were talking about Devin Singletary as maybe a waiver wire pickup yesterday if he was available, or someone that maybe you're looking to flex consideration in deeper formats. What do you think?
Probably neutral. I mean, he's looked better than Singletary, but they keep giving Singletary the goal line carries, and that's really going to hurt Tyrone Tracy because, again, he had 19 carries this past week for 88 yards. So, like, oh, that's great. But where are the goal line carries? Where are the touchdowns? And he had 4 catches for 51 yards, too. That's something that I want to see more of because he was a receiver in college. So, like, why are we getting the ball more in the passing game? Then with Dart coming back too, you do have to worry about some of those rushes taken away. Again, even if we believe that they have fewer design runs, there's going to be situations where Dart drops back to pass, first read's covered, second read's covered. Okay, I'm going to take off and run now, even though it's not a design run. It's just instinct. It's natural. And they can tell him all he wants. Hey, don't keep running. You're going to get hurt. Mm-hmm. When you're on a football field and you have that natural instinct, it's going to take over. So that also could be a factor. But, yeah, 1 touchdown on the season for Tracy. So I like what I've seen. I like the volume. But if Singletary's going to steal those goal line carries and then Dart's coming back, it is going to hurt him a bit.
Yeah, Singletary took 3 of the 4 attempts inside the 5-yard line last weekend, which is something you just don't want to see if you're a Tyrone Tracy manager. Devin Singletary, a little bit different. I would be cautious with Singletary. The Giants' schedule, especially I think when I saw it was over the next 3 weeks, not necessarily easy. Like, you just have to be really careful there because they play the Lions on the road. Then they're on the road against the Patriots. They come back against the Commanders at home. But still, those next 2 especially, a little bit more difficult than you would probably like. So just be cautious there. I have him borderline RB3, low-end RB3 is where I'm going to rank him this weekend. And then they have a bye. That's why. So they have those 2 games and then a bye as well.
Yeah, that is not a good schedule coming up. We've talked about New England all year, how you can't run against them, and Detroit too. And that's a game script too where I expect the Giants to be trailing pretty early in this game.
Week 14 could be pretty brutal. You're without, so the Panthers, you don't play many people there.
Well,
Rico Dowdle.
Dowdle and McMillan.
I know. You think Ted's going to keep doing that though?
I think I'm kind of disappointed the way you've been crapping on Ted. He's been better than you think.
Ted. I know, but it's still not been good. It's been one of the, how many shares of Ted do you have? Because
I have one of those. I have a few. He's on my best team.
But it's not because of him that it's your best team.
No, but he's 18th in points per game at PPR.
I know,
formats.
but it doesn't feel like that.
Why?
It's almost like the Kyler Murray conversation.
Nah, I think it's different. I mean,
16, 8, 11, 33. It's up and down. I haven't been winning games because of him. The floor's been fine.
Last week he won.
Last week, yes. But you think that continues? We don't get 448 from Bryce Young every single week. 448 yards.
I don't know. So where were you expecting him to finish when you drafted him? I mean, again, wide receiver 18th in points per game right now in PPR formats.
Probably top 14.
Okay, so he's slightly
He was kind of expensive.
He did rise.
I was going to say, he was kind of expensive. He's been fine. I'm not.
No, it's clearly tied to Bryce Young, right? If he had a better quarterback, the numbers would be better. They're not bad. I see your point. Like, he hasn't had a lot of big game winning weeks, but he's also not crushed you.
But
for
you're
the most part, he's had a high floor.
You're not winning because of it. You're not like, it's not the Emeka Egbuka early days where we're like, there's Tyrone McMillan. Like, he is a must start every single week. Based on where you drafted him, he probably is. But it's just been one of those things to me where I hear, what did you say? He's wide receiver 17?
18th in points per game.
Like, it just doesn't feel like it. It brings me back to the Kyler Murray conversation where you're like, okay, 11 fantasy points, 16, that's a good day, 7, 10, 13.
He's averaging more points per game than Waddle, Odunze, T. Higgins, McConkey.
Yuck. It's just, I just don't think, we can't expect 33 every single time. Unless we get the Bryce Young. Now listen, unless we get the Bryce Young that we saw last season to end the year. Okay, maybe we're talking something different. They take on San Francisco this weekend. Not a bad matchup for Bryce Young. Then they've got the Rams. Then they have their bye. They start the fantasy playoffs against the Saints on the road, Tampa Bay, and then Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle week 17 is a problem for championship
Yeah,
week.
it's not.
But the
It's not
Saints and
great.
Bucks is not bad. But it's all going to come down to Bryce Young, right?
Oh, 1,000%.
If he had better quarterback play, then he'd be in that. He might have been a top 10 receiver this year if he had better quarterback play.
Oh, yeah, we would be talking about Tedero McMillan. I think we would have been talking about Tedero McMillan in the same way that we were talking about Emeka Egbuka. Just draft him. If he was on a different team, if he was a wide receiver one somewhere else with a better quarterback. Because we've seen, I mean, we can see the ceiling games. We see how athletic, how good he is in a game like last weekend. But that's not, the floor.
I mean, Egbuka's a receiver that hasn't won you many weeks lately.
Wow, what are we going to do with him?
He's had one good game in the last 5.
I want to believe that that's changing, right? Please.
Yeah, I think a lot. Well, he had the hamstring injury. He probably played through that. I figured, okay, with the bye week it would help, and then he had a good game against New England, and then he was quiet this week, 5 for 40 on 9 targets. I think they're asking a rookie wide receiver to be their one. That was not the expectations of him. So I think he'll be fine because the volume's still there. He's getting 9 to 12 targets every single week, so you'll take that.
Well, let's talk through him. I've got more questions on Emeka Egbuka and early Week 12 rankings that we're gonna go through here coming up next. Fantasy Life right here with you on this Wednesday, mid-morning, afternoon, depends on where you are. We're breaking down everything you need to know for Week 12 across the NFL and fantasy football. Early Week 12 rankings are out that you guys can find at fantasylife.com. I didn't bring this one up in the water cooler, Adam, but did you see that quote from Chuba Hubbard saying he came back too early from his injury?
Yeah, I mean, this happens all the time.
I know. He only missed he missed the 2 games with the calf injury. What was that, week 5 that we saw? Yeah, he has not been efficient. Let's just say that, which is Rico Dowdle managers are happy about it, but anyone that drafted Chuba Hubbard and then him coming out and saying, I came back too early, brutal. Not good.
Yeah, look, it's a calf injury. Those are always tricky when you rush back. And the other factor was you're seeing a guy steal your job. You're like, wait a second. Rico Dowdle's going out there putting up 200-plus yards from scrimmage in 2 straight games. Again, I don't care who the opponent is. You just don't see that much in the NFL. So Chuba's like, I'm good. I want to get back out there.
Yeah, not good, to say the least. So I wanted to bring that one up before we get into these. By the way, it looks like per Adam Schefter, the Cardinals have ruled out Marvin Harrison Jr. and Amari DiMercado.
Well, DiMercado, we knew it's a high ankle, but Harrison already ruled out.
Well, we said this. I
know
the appendectomy. Like when they only said 1 week, and then remember the next day they started reporting, it could be maybe a couple weeks. Like not good for Marvin Harrison Jr. managers, and just a fluky thing that you can't see coming, except when it's Marshawn Lloyd. What was that? Was that last year he had that happen?
Yeah.
You remember that?
This is such bad luck for Harrison when you finally get a quarterback that's getting you the football. You don't have to deal with Kyler Murray. You have Brissett. He was playing well, and now you miss 2 straight games. Just absolutely brutal.
So if you have, we saw Michael Wilson and we saw what Michael Wilson can do when he needs to step up. If you have him now, you're going to continue starting him. He was the wide receiver 1 on this team, I should say, in week 11, 33.5 fantasy points, 94 utilization score, 18 targets, and 231 air yards. We can't expect that, obviously, week in and week out. Well, maybe we could actually with Jacoby Brissett, but yeah, Jacoby Brissett at this point, Adam, and you know how much I really try to say nice things about Kyler Murray. At this point, you're just hoping that Jacoby Brissett is their quarterback the rest of the season, and that Kyler Murray has to continue resting, not coming back for our fantasy teams, because with Jacoby Brissett, it's just better for us. They played they played the Jacksonville Jaguars this weekend, and then they take on Tampa Bay and then the Rams. I believe that's when the timeline could be where Kyler Murray returns, but like I said, maybe he just takes a little breather, takes a break. But if you have Michael Wilson, you're starting him, and then Greg Dortch goes into flex territory for sure.
Yeah, I mean, again, we cannot expect the numbers we saw last week. It was 47 completions for Brissett. Everything broke right. So you're not going to see that again, but you definitely feel better about the offense here with Brissett there. And again, Michael Wilson getting his opportunity and absolutely going off.
Yeah, and Trey McBride.
McBride, I mean, again, McBride, we knew you saw that early on. He's getting those targets in the end zone. I think it's 6 touchdowns in 5 games now. So yeah, McBride is just if you have him, you just feel like you have a league winner right now. He is a huge difference maker at the tight end position.
I've got him in GST.
I
I'm
know.
feeling all right. He came to me on the turn. It was like the 3-4 turn, I want to say.
I know. I even said at the time, I was like,
you
got really good value.
me.
Yeah, I was like, damn, I cannot believe it. Because I was willing to take him in the third round this year. And I usually don't like taking tight ends that early. But remember, we talked about it too. Like, I really didn't like that 2-3 turn.
No.
I think I didn't get him because, I took Bucky Irving in round 3. I needed a running back because I started two receivers.
At the time, a good pick.
It was, and if he stayed healthy, I probably would have been happy with it. But it's not working out very well right now.
You can't have nice things all the time. Man, I'm looking at this roster. You know who my biggest question mark has been every single week is Brian Thomas Jr. I know we talk about that all the time, but to have your second round pick be the biggest question mark where you say, do I start him? Do I not? Such is life. Such is life. All right, we've got more matchups that I want to break down. But again, the Arizona Cardinals have already ruled out Marvin Harrison Jr. So if you have him, make sure you go pick someone up, have some backup that's ready to go this weekend. Amari DiMercado also ruled out for this game. So you're looking at the practice window also being open, 21-day practice window for Trey Benson. We'll see when he's able to get out there when he can. Early Week 12 rankings, though, continuing to break those down where we have Dak Prescott, where we're looking at for Michael Pittman Jr. as well. We're going to break down those games and more here next. Good vibes, Adam. That's what we have for a Wednesday. That's what we have going into week 12. Early rankings going into this weekend as well at fantasylife.com. That's where you can go and check it out. Maybe not great vibes. We just mentioned this though. Maybe not great vibes for Dak Prescott, but you're probably going to start him versus the Eagles. You just have to, lower expectations a little bit. Let's just say that. Because Las Vegas is Las Vegas. He completed 75.8% of his pass attempts, 4 touchdowns. And yeah, this is not the same team. Let's just say that. The Eagles defense looks outstanding since everything that we've been talking about with them, how they need to turn things around. They've been limiting, opposing quarterbacks as well. So you have to be a little bit cautious of this. But again, you're in a spot where you probably don't have a better option. So you're just going to roll with him.
Yeah, I probably will. I think I have him in at least 3 leagues. I am a little nervous about it, but I think I actually do have one with him and Purdy.
Oh.
Yeah,
I think I have. Let me check. I think I have Purdy ahead of him.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to have to wrestle with that decision. By the way, so Raheem Morris says update on Drake London, hopefully next week. I don't know.
I don't believe him. Yeah. I'm going to be totally honest.
They're saying it's a PCL injury, right? That's what Ricky Pearsall had. And it took him like 17 years to come back.
Don't say that. I've got Drake London in a lot of spots.
I have London, I think, brutal. 2 leagues, but he was just money in the bank. It's a tough loss. And then the quarterback play doesn't help either.
I was going to say, you have to downgrade him anyway because of Kirk Cousins. What a tough run out for Drake London managers that they could have. If he's back out there, there's probably not a lot of situations where we say bench him, but you have to lower the expectations the rest of the way.
Well, first, before we even get there, let's see
when
him
he comes
healthy.
Back. Yeah. I don't know. Next week would be nice. Let's just say that. Next week would be nice, but we're going to err on the side of caution and probably assume that he's not going to be there. But maybe he surprises us. Michael Pittman Jr. too this weekend, by the way. So Kansas City, the Colts are coming off their bye. This is just one I wanted to talk through because the Colts have been a team where we've said, wow, how is this run out going to end? And they've looked dominant before, but we've been talking more about Alec Pierce, and obviously Michael Pittman Jr. has been putting up fantasy points for us too. But he's been fighting a little bit for volume. And now you're going to get these Chiefs corners. You got McDuffie, you got Watson. And I'm a little bit nervous for him this weekend. Again, if you have him, depends on your lineups and everything like that. He's still going to be in obvious play territory, but you just, again, lowering expectations is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, we're going to learn a lot about the Colts this week. They're coming off a bye, and they get a Kansas City team that is in desperation mode now. They cannot afford to lose this game or another loss sitting at 5-5. So, look, Pittman, for the most part, has been pretty consistent this year. You mentioned, the down game. He's coming off against Atlanta. 2 catches for 19 yards. That was the London game. So some weird things happened there. And Alec Pierce obviously has emerged. You got Tyler Warren. So Josh Downs. So there's a lot of players in this offense. But Pittman, even in a tough matchup, he's capable of coming through with like a big play and a potential touchdown. So,
Definitely.
while you don't feel great about the matchup, he's a guy that, for the most part, you're getting in your lineup.
My wide receiver 21 this week, and that's pretty much around consensus. So that's if you have him, you're starting him, but you have to just know that the Chiefs haven't given up a 20-point game to a wide receiver since week 1, and then they've only given up 8 double-digit fantasy outings in the past 9 games. So just, it's one of those things where you just have to look. You say, all right, well, we'll see what happens here, and that's basically what we're doing with the injury reports today and tomorrow, Adam, for Emmanuel Wilson. Bashaw Tutin is one that I picked up. I was able to pick up in one league yesterday. I mean, we're really just in wait and see mode for what these injuries are. Sean Tucker, if they think Bucky Irving's going to come back, it's just wait and see mode at this point. But if you pick them up, you have to wait.
There's a lot of situations where you're not going to be able to make these decisions till the weekend at this point. And, always say you need to be patient. Obviously, we have a game tomorrow with the Texans and Bills, so you make your decision with those players, and then you're going to have to wait it out for a lot of these running backs to see who starts. So it's a week of patience, unfortunately.
Which we hate. We're not patient people. What do we do? That's why we're in.
I know everyone wants to know who's in my starting lineup. I need to get it done now. It's like, relax, wait, let's get the most information first.
It's a lot, though. I mean, so it's Emmanuel Wilson when we're looking there.
Bucky Irving and the Tampa backfield.
It's Kenneth Gainwell if Jalen Warren is in, or Jalen Warren.
Does Ramondre Stevenson come back?
Oh gosh, I forgot about Ramondre.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot. Bashaw Tutin, toot.
Yeah, is he healthy?
I need to eat breakfast. We gotta get out of here. FantasyLife.com. That's where you can go check out all of our articles, 100% free. Check out that newsletter as well. Make sure you go subscribe to that. I appreciate everyone hanging out with us today. What a great fun show. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. We'll be back with you same time here tomorrow.